everyone, welcome to another Something Bad Thursday, and today I thought it would be interesting to briefly dive in to a topic that I think sort of is somewhat related to when I discussed the nightclub scene and how I don't really particularly care for it. Um, and this kind of goes in hand with it, but I think there is a more deeper topic um, underbelly surrounding this issue, so I thought it'd be interesting to address it, and that is drinking excessively. This has almost been a topic that has at least surrounded a lot of my generation when it comes to socializing. Like drinking is the big thing, or at least one of the big things. Alcohol, meaning, and I find a lot of it to be either grossly overrated for what fun they consider is when it involves excessively drinking, and also how I think it's very bad. I think there's a lot of negative consequences from this kind of behavior, and I just think that it's ridiculous, and I don't really care for it, and I don't like it. I think it's bad. So yeah, I'm gonna kind of go over my reasoning behind this, and again, I'm not a drinking prude, to say the least. I mean, I do like wine, and I do like maybe some beer on occasion if the beer is actually good, because that's a very rarity nowadays. And I do like margaritas and things like that. I don't mind the idea of drinking, and so it becomes so overly excessive and so overindulged in basically the entire atmosphere of everybody that's within the room, then to me it just becomes very stupid and and not fun to sit through. But first and foremost, out of the gateway, why is it bad for you? Well, it's really unhealthy. I mean, drinking excessively can lead to alcohol poisoning, which we've seen happen from a lot of college students nowadays, just overindulging in the amount of alcohol that they have. Um, I mean, it leads to other complications, um, and it, I think, drastically not only affects your health as far as physical is concerned, but also your social, because I think a lot of the times drama and unnecessary baggage comes from drinking excessively. And you have a lot of people, just kind of acting out and going a little crazy and not being, sober. So, yeah, that's a thing that I think is very big that people overlook. They think, oh no, it's just harmless fun. When you look at it, there are a lot of negative things that come out of it. I mean, sometimes people can get a little rough along the edges and get a little violent and hostile. And at the same time, you do have the physical health and that it ruins your body. And again, you lose brain cells too if you drink too much too. So you become dumber as a result of of drinking too much. So yeah, by and large, I think drinking excessively is unhealthy. That's why I refuse to take part in it. Um, and what I really hate about the excessive drinking and the uh, and these and the thing that sort of surrounds excessive drinking is that stupid peer pressure where everybody's telling you to do it. Everybody's telling you to be like them. Everybody's telling you to cave in and not be yourself and be an idiot like they are. And you're just standing there like, no, I don't want to be an idiot like you. Get the frick away from me. And, that's the part of me that really gets bothered when there are these people out there who think that they can dictate, you know, how you should, behave. Like you should degrade your behavior just so that you're on our level. And it's like, I'm sorry, I'm not going to go on your level. I mean, I'm not going to, you know, drink myself silly. There's no point, and it's not even fun anyway. You're not even in the happy stage anymore by that point. You're at the maybe even throw up and pass out stage. So yeah, I just find the peer pressure to be stupid and unnecessary. And I think a lot of teenagers in particular, even college kids too, I think a lot of them do feel it. And I think it really does end up impacting them because, they'll go out and drink and then they won't study, they won't do their work. And, I think what ends up resulting a lot from the peer pressure is when you surround yourself with people like that who are forcing you into these kinds of things, you end up not really having any goals for yourself and you really do limit your potential, all because these people are telling you to kind of go and live this party hard lifestyle. Um, so yeah, I think that's just something that a lot of people just don't realize and they just don't grasp it for some reason. I grasp it, but apparently some people don't. But I understand if there's other people who have different opinions than I do. Also, I think a little alcohol is fun. Like if you are at the level of, just tipsy, where you're just kind of, just in your kind of happy stage, that I think's fine. And usually it comes from just having even just one drink, like depending on how strong it is or how it impacts you, even one drink can be a little bit much. I do not like the hard liquors, to be honest. The majority of them I don't care for. If there's a little bit of alcohol in it, then it's fine for me. And I think, again, just having yourself be kind of, just a little bit let go is, I don't think, necessarily bad. Especially considering if it just happens if you just have one drink, one glass of wine, and you're a little haha, and you're kind of, you sometimes I think your personality can come out like that if you have like a little bit of a drink, but it doesn't, again, you're not disoriented, you're not throwing up, you're not causing problems, you're just kind of being a little bit goofier maybe than usual. Um, that's usually what I consider a tipsy level. It's not excessive drinking because, again, it's just a little bit. It's not over excessive pouring it down your throat drinking. And again, you don't need to have a drink every day. You can have a drink once a month or once in a while. It's like you don't need to have it constantly. I think it's more satisfying if you have a little because you appreciate it more than you would if you were drinking constantly. So I think that's just something that I notice when it comes to this and why I feel like the uh, less is more, so to speak. And why I think the drinking excessively really does result in not really having a positive experience with alcohol. um, the interesting thing that I find too is that we've treated drinking as kind of like a social gathering where people will all get together and they'll all drink themselves silly. But the thing is you're not really socializing at the end of the day. You're just trying to fulfill some kind of void of, escaping whatever problems you have. I think a lot of the time. I think a lot of the time, like going to a club, a lot of it is self-fulfillment. It is not designed to really have bonds with people. It's just to get a bunch of people together and just be stupid for the sake of being stupid. And that's just something that I don't appreciate all too much. Because I mean, it just doesn't. It's just that you're not really doing anything that has a social, standing to it. You're just, going around and drinking. That's all you're doing, and cheering everybody else on to drink. You're not talking to one another. You're not, having a social conversation. You're not even eating anything with your drink at all. If anything, I mean, that's what I find to be a very just an issue that I find makes the drinking excessively really bad, because I'm not getting anything positive out of it. I'm not, connecting with anybody. I'm just in this, it's all about the alcohol. It's not about really actually having friendships. So I think that's something that I've noticed over the years, and why it's bothered me so much. Um, and again, like I've said before, once you get people into that kind of level of, of where they're so deep into it, it's hard for people to go and, have other stages in life and really have goals. If you're constantly out, drinking, partying, going to the nightclub, going to wherever, you're probably not going to have a lot of goals for your life. You're probably not going to have a direction, and start taking things a little bit more seriously. And I think this is a very important issue, and some people really discard it and think, no, it's not going to impact me. I am in control. I know what's right for me. When you look at the person and you go, I don't think so. I don't think you have it under control, especially considering the fact that that person is constantly drinking and is constantly making drinking a part of their life. And it really does impact you in being able to have even relationships, even actual real, bonds with people, when you are constantly trying to, um, impress people who really don't care about you. So I think that's something too that I've noticed, that some people seem to overlook. I think when it comes to this particular issue. Um, and again, I'm not against alcohol at all. I am not. I mean, I think the drinking age is a little bit too old, actually, within the United States, because I mean, again, I think I think that, just making it older doesn't just because you make the drinking age older doesn't necessarily mean that we're gonna be somehow better off, because people always break the rules when it comes to this, unfortunately, but they do. Um, but again, I'm not against the whole idea of people drinking alcohol, having alcohol, but what I do feel is really bad and is really a detriment is when people overuse it, and again want to constantly go out and drink and want to constantly make this thing like the center of their life. And to me that's almost pathetic, that you have nothing else but to go out and drink, like that's the only thing that's fun for you, not to travel, um, not to read, or do something that really actually helps build your life up. And instead, you choose something that sort of breaks things down, because again, a lot of these things end up having a lot of negative connotations to them, um, and it ends up being a really an abuse, I believe, um, that can be that can result in, again, other people getting killed or harmed. I mean, look at how drunk driving is such a huge problem within the United States. I mean, you see it constantly, and I still don't get it. I still don't understand. But again, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that people are peer pressured, and they are all forced to conform. And well, they're not really technically forced, but they feel like they're being forced into it, rather than doing it on their own individual desire. So again, that's, I think, something that's very important to note. And I think, again, it just goes to show you the level of, damage that it does. I mean, it's not like, uh, alcohol doesn't come with its problems. And also, I find people who do drink excessively, or to a point where you know that that person's probably going to pass out drunk or is, you know, um, just it's annoying and it's obnoxious because you have to take care of that person now because that person can't take care of themselves. Um, because again, the ironic thing is, oh, I'm in control when I drink, but if you drink excessively, you're probably not all that much in control of yourself. I mean, you will do things that you probably wouldn't do if you were sober. So, yeah, what I think ends up happening is people become more obnoxious, they become louder, um, and they just become annoying, and then you have to take care of them because you know, they they're they probably can't walk like they can't walk properly or even function properly, because they'll be saying things that don't make sense. um, and again, I think a lot of it has to do with, it's just a level of immaturity, like that they can't get out of this whole, cycle of just feeling like they have to drink. I mean, it's just, again, I just think it leads to a lot of immature behavior. And again, if you go look up any kind of reality TV, you'll probably understand what I'm talking about. I mean, it does lead to a lot of um really just I don't want to say it's childish because it's kind of like an insult to children, but it's very low brow, not it's just not mature behavior. It's just not the way adults behave. And again, it's just there's just so much annoyance that comes from it. There's so much baggage that comes from it, and I can totally understand why people would get really turned off by people who feel like they need to put this drinking as a constant need for them. Um, and again, I think it really just delays your ability to go out and do something with your life. And yeah, and it costs so much money too. Like, why would you want to spend so much money on alcohol when you could just spend just on a bottle of wine on occasion, I mean, I don't get that part either. And I also don't get the part of people, constantly wanting to buy drinks for other people. In particular, going back to my previous video where I discussed, the club and how men primarily go and try to, excuse me, buy drinks for women. And I just think that that's dumb, and I personally don't agree with being bought, like that, especially if you don't know the person. Like, hey, I'm just gonna buy you a drink, even though I don't know you at all. It's like, how am I supposed to trust you when you go out and buy me a drink? Like, I mean, it's just ridiculous. I don't understand why, there's this constant need for that. But I think also alcohol primarily gives people a chance for attention, and it gives them a chance to, feel like that they're the prime example, and they'll post all of their drunk pictures on Facebook, and everybody will, I mean, it's just one big gigantic excessive mess, and I really think it's really bad, and I think it's gotten to the point where it's again, it just leads to a lot of other irresponsible behavior. And it just, yeah, it just doesn't lead you to something better at the end of the tunnel. It just doesn't. And that's why I think that excessive drinking, in my opinion, is bad, and I do not want to participate in excessive drinking. Yes, margarita, totally cool with it. A glass or two of wine, totally fine with it. A beer bottle, yeah, sure, no problem. But as far as anything else is concerned, I just think it's just too much for me. And even the hard liquor, it hurts my head. Like I can't drink that stuff. It's just disgusting. So again, but everybody has different tastes, and I totally understand that. But I think when people overuse something, it not only becomes um, not only does it become a sort of, I guess you could say, an obsession, it just becomes a need to constantly fulfill instead of trying to go for something that would make sort of a positive impact, because I mean, alcohol, yeah, yeah, some of it tastes good, but it's it's not life. There's a lot of other things in life that are fun to do and are interesting and insightful, and you don't need to go out and drink constantly. And I don't see why people still do it. Um, I just don't get it. I personally would um, rather work for something that is worth more. But that's just my honest opinion. I'm totally sure that there's other people who have different thoughts than I do, but that's just my feelings when it comes to this topic. It's just the excessive drinking, the whole, you know, social culture that we've surrounded it with. I just think it's just too excessive. It's not, it's not mature. It feels really low class. It just doesn't. It, it's there's just nothing sophisticated or or worth investing. I mean, there's just nothing there for you. At least for me, there's nothing there. Is it maybe there for other people? Yeah, but again, um, I would say drink responsibly, but at the same time, I know there's a lot of people out there who still won't. So yeah, I think at the end of the day, people need to kind of take a step back and really look and see what they're doing, and if what they're doing um, is really a good idea when it comes to drinking. But I'm sure, again, there's other people who will say differently than me on this, but that's just my honest opinion. But I think that's ultimately all I can say for this video. If there are any questions, comments, concerns, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Excuse me. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you all have a pleasant day, week, month, and year. And I hope to see you on the next video, which I will be uploading today because I won't have time tomorrow because I will be gone for the rest of the day tomorrow. So until then, bye-bye.